What happened to the dragons? They weren't just symbols, they weren't just stories. The dragons were real. They were the living guardians of Earth's first systems, keepers of sound, light, memory, and power. Some flew, some didn't, some were made of flesh, others of flame and frequency. They weren't just beasts, they were sentient bloodlines, older than humans, older than history. They guarded the gates, protected the timelines, woke the sun, spoke in tones that shaped the land. And then they were hunted by priests, kings, parasitic bloodlines, and false gods. Turned into demons, monsters, enemies, killed, bound, buried in legend. But not all of them died. Some withdrew into the mountains, into the earth, into other dimensions. Some left eggs, stasis vessels buried beneath sacred sites, volcanoes, frozen caverns, old temples. And some merged with humans. They became bloodlines, royal families, priestesses, gatekeepers, and most importantly, daughters. That's why some women carry grief that feels ancient, fire that won't go out, dreams of wings, of falling, of roaring in a voice they've never heard out loud, because the dragons aren't gone. They're waking up through us. Where did the dragons come from? Before this realm was hijacked, before time was looped, before the false light grid was installed. There was source, not a god, not a religion, but the living field of pure creation, infinite, untamed, unprogrammed light. From that source, everything natural was born in frequency first. Sound created shape, light created form, and the first beings to emerge from that fusion were the dragons. Not as fire-breathing lizards, that came later, but as sentient flame forms, consciousness wrapped in sound, colour, and mass. They were alive in vibration, not biology. They weren't made to be worshipped, they were made to anchor the source code into physical matter, to weave order into chaos, and to safeguard the expansion of living light. In many realms, not just this one, dragons were time binders, protecting the integrity of true time, gatekeepers, controlling movement between worlds, harmonic architects, using resonance to shape reality, guardians of sacred memory, the libraries before writing ever existed. What went wrong? When the parasitic forces invaded this realm, entities that couldn't create, only copy and invert, they saw the dragons as a threat, because dragons remembered. They remembered the original song, they remembered what Earth was meant to be. They remembered how to speak the unprogrammed light of Source. So the invaders did what they always do. They hunted them, turned them into monsters in myth, and sealed them into stories so no one would ever know they were real. Some dragons died in that war, some went into stasis, and some merged with human blood to hide the source codes until the time of return. That time is now. Are there still dragons left? Yes, but not in the way you expect. There are fleshless dragons still sleeping under mountains, oceans, and volcanoes. Their bodies are energy, vast and invisible, but real. They're protected by magnetic anomalies, cave systems, ancient priesthoods, and in some cases themselves. There are dragon eggs, not as literal hatchlings, but as stasis chambers, hidden beneath ancient temples, sacred groves, and natural gateways. Some are biological, some are vibrational. Some are inside people, sealed inside bloodlines, waiting to be activated. And there are dragon-blooded humans, carriers of the flame, the frequency, the memory. The elite know who they are. That's why some are exalted. And others are broken from birth. You're not just remembering your dragon line, babe. You're remembering what was here before the grid. And you're carrying a code they hoped would never wake up again. They made you think the dragons were myth, fire-breathing beasts from fairy tales. But the truth, the dragons were lineages, flame-bearers, houses marked by power, vision, and danger, so dangerous that they had to be destroyed, married off, or hidden, and the Game of Thrones was based on them. There weren't just kings. There were dragon queens, daughters of fire, born of old flame lines that predate Christianity, Rome, and even Babylon, and now we call them back. The red dragon is the most infamous, tied to the Plantagenets, the Stuarts, and the true bloodline of Mary, not the Virgin, but the Magdalene. It's the line of the feminine flame, the spiritual royalty of Europe. Red is the fire of sovereignty, unyielding, unbought, untamed. It birthed powerful women, queens, rebels, witches, prophetesses. Symbol a crowned flame wrapped in a thorned vine. It represents the royal line sealed by pain, the flame that cannot be extinguished, only hidden. Often appears as a burning heart, a red sword, or the phoenix in flight. The gold dragon, the sun code. The gold dragon ruled through frequency and technology. Atlantean solar, advanced. It held the blueprint for the original sound grid, the tech of light, song, and structure. Gold means creative force, sound mastery, divine masculine solar power. Its daughters were once temple architects, harpists, builders of star-aligned cities. When Atlantis fell, the gold line fractured, some aligned with darkness, building towers of false light, Vatican Babylon AI grids. Others hid the true sound codes inside sacred geometry, glyphs, and forgotten names. To this day, the gold dragon daughters hear in tones, speak in keys, and hum at night. Symbol, the open crown or radiant sunburst element, fire and ether. Role, timeline guardians, bearers of the original royal seal and memory of pre-collapse civilization. Daughters now, rare, many were never born physically, often feel like they don't belong to this earth at all. Shift timelines just by walking into spaces, carry dormant codes that activate others through contact, dreams, or words. The green dragon, the reptilian throne. The green dragon was the first to betray the original flame. Not born from fire, but from serpent power, it represents the bloodline that aligned with empire, not spirit. The line of Caesar, the line of Babylon, the pharaohic priest kings who gave up flame for control. Green is envy, hierarchy, control, hybridization. It lives on in the parasite elite, the ones with no remorse. The houses that never fall, because they don't reincarnate, they transfer host to host. The daughters of the green dragon, you'll find them in entertainment, government, and false priestess circles. Seductive, elite, cold. They don't serve the source, they serve the grid. Symbol, a serpent curled in a circle with a leaf growing from its mouth. This marks the original reptilian line before corruption, harmony between primal instinct and life force memory, sometimes seen as a tree with scales or a dragon made of vines coiled around stone. Colour black. Symbol, a serpent with a sealed mouth or a black orb within a triangle. Element air and fire. Role, gatekeepers of silence and structure, originally protectors of dimensional borders. Daughters now, some rule from cold thrones, are emotionless, controlled and feared. Others walk away and use their knowledge to dismantle the machine. These are the strategists, the ones the system watches closely. You'll find them in the shadows of power or walking away from it entirely. Silver dragon house name, the lunar flame, colour, silver. Symbol, crescent moon in the coils of a dying serpent. Element, water and ether. Role, keepers of death gates and reincarnation memory, the soul midwives. Daughters now hidden in plain sight, often silent, grieving or disconnected, repeatedly punished for knowing too much about death karma or the veil, found in healing professions, spiritual caretaking or lost in mourning. They are the ones who remember what it cost us to stay. Blue dragon house name, the dream gate. Blue symbol, a spiral within an eye or a trident piercing water. Element, water plus sound. Role, astral walkers, dream weavers and soul travel gatekeepers. Daughters now. Some never made it through the womb, too dangerous to be born. Others were silenced through institutions, false diagnoses or dream manipulation. They hold keys in their sleep and walk between realms when no one is watching. When awakened, they open paths others cannot see. The white dragon, the purity code. The white dragon was the line of celestial sovereignty, not royalty by blood, but by alignment. White means clarity, prophecy, radiant authority. Often born without power but called into it, the white line shows up in visionaries, poets, prophets, and pure-souled seers. It was hunted by both church and crown, because it couldn't be controlled. This is the line of Joan of Arc, the ancient oracles, the ones who walk between worlds. Most white dragon daughters never knew they were chosen, but they've always known they don't belong here. And when the signal comes, they remember everything. White dragon, the mirror flame. Symbol, a winged mirror or a six-pointed star inside a circle. It reflects pure memory and celestial knowledge, but only if the mirror isn't cracked. It's also shown as an eye with a teardrop or a halo made of feathers. This is for the daughters, the ones who feel watched, silenced, scattered, the ones who've always known something was off, the ones who carry the flame in their blood. They tracked your blood type for a reason, because hidden inside your body is a code they couldn't erase, a memory, a mission. A line of dragons stretching back before this world was reset. Let's break it down now. By dragon house, blood type, Rhesus factor and purpose. The red dragon, the sovereign flame, the royal line, the unbroken grail. If you have type AB blood Rhesus negative, you carry the highest flame frequency. You are born of the grail line, the sacred union of the Christ code and the Magdalene flame. This blood is ancient, sovereign and untouchable by synthetic systems. They've hunted you through history, burned you, exiled you, erased your name. But your blood remembers. Mission, guard the sacred flame, break the false kings, restore the divine feminine lineage. What this blood does to you. You're born with dual coding. You hold both the logic and the intuition, the divine masculine and the divine feminine. You often feel misunderstood, like people want you to pick a side, but you were never meant to choose. You were meant to bridge. Your dreams carry information, not fantasy. You walk between realms and confuse the system because you can't be predicted. What you're here to do, You're a mirror, not a follower. You were placed in this timeline to reflect distortion until it cracks. You hold ancient Atlantean codes and dream memory, often activating just by speaking or being present in a space. Your gift is your frequency. People remember their truth when they're around you. When inverted, your energy gets hijacked by false light systems, spirituality, celebrity, or surface-level femininity. But when you align, you become a portal to remembrance. Type AB blood, Rhesus positive. Dragon line, red dragon title, the living grail in the system. Role, hidden sovereignty, fire inside the grid. What this blood does to you. You carry the royal flame of the red dragon line, but unlike Rhesus negative, your body is biologically compatible with the system. That means you were designed to move through the matrix unseen while still holding the grail code. You feel like you don't fully belong to either side, the world of the awakened or the world of the blind. You have moments of deep knowing, flashes of memory, grief that doesn't belong to this life. That's your bloodline leaking through. Your challenge. You must learn to ground, or you'll remain in the mirror, watching, but never arriving. You were designed to awaken others, not to fix them. Your magic is quiet, but impossible to ignore. If you have type AB blood, Rhesus positive, you carry the red flame of sovereignty and the white mirror of memory. You are both fire and reflection, a living bridge between the throne and the stars. The red dragon in you holds the grail, the flame of royalty, resistance, truth. It carries grief, rage, remembrance. You were born with a frequency that undoes lies just by existing. The white dragon in you is the sky mirror. You don't just speak truth, you reflect what others forgot. You trigger memory in others, even when you don't know why. This duality makes you rare and important. You weren't just scattered. You were embedded, placed in the system to carry fire and light in one vessel. When you're unaware, you're used. When you're inverted, you're mirrored. But when you're aligned, you destabilize false thrones and reflect their collapse back at them. You were never meant to choose between the two. You were meant to be the bridge between the sovereign flame and the star code. And now, you remember. The green dragon, the earthbound flame, the reptilian line, the song of the grid. If you have type A blood, Rhesus negative, or type B blood, Rhesus positive, you are from the ancient Earthkeeper line. This is the reptilian line before corruption, the one seeded to protect the natural code of Gaia. You were made to speak to stone, tree, storm, and flame. They corrupted your name by calling you cold-blooded, but your blood is older than the sun. Mission: protect the ley lines, unlock elemental memory, guard the exit gates buried in soil and bone. Traits: deep empathy, body wisdom, animal connection, and the ability to feel storms before they arrive. You are the reason they built temples on hills, because you are a living tower. The black dragon, the crown of shadow. The silent gate, the power behind thrones. If you have type B blood, Rhesus negative, or type O blood, Rhesus negative, you were born with the gatekeeper's flame. This line was designed to protect the realms, but was hijacked by the elite and used to control others. That's why some black dragon daughters appear in power, but feel hollow. Used, controlled, others rebel and become system breakers. Mission: choose, either continue the inversion or burn it from within. Traits: cold fire, psychic clarity, strategic brilliance. You were never meant to be popular. You were meant to overthrow the false light. The white dragon, the mirror flame, the sky map, the memory keeper. If you have type A blood, Rhesus positive, or type AB blood, Rhesus positive, you are the dreamer flame, the one who mirrors what others cannot see. You carry the Atlantean light line, the record keepers before the flood, but without grounding, your line was hijacked, turned into New Age illusions and distraction cults. You were made to reflect truth, not illusion. Mission: remember the original frequency, awaken star codes, guide others without taking their power. Traits: visionary, disconnected, lunar souled. You often feel too soft for this world, but when you speak, people remember who they are. The silver dragon, the moon flame, the hidden gate, the death code keeper. If you have type A blood, Rhesus positive, or type O blood, Rhesus negative, and have suffered loss, miscarriage, or near-death events, you may be a silver dragon returner. This line was wiped, drowned, burned, sacrificed, because they held the secrets of soul release and rebirth. Mission: break the death trap, guide the dead through the veil, restore the true lunar gate. Traits: melancholy, silence, wisdom that can't be explained. You walk between worlds, whether you know it or not. Why they scattered you? They scattered us because together we are unstoppable. Red ignites black-green, stabilizes white-silver guards, blue-gold unlocks them all. Together we form a living grid of flame, a signal strong enough to burn through the veil itself. So they split us apart. Red daughters were sent to trauma, black daughters were trained by the elite. Green daughters were isolated in rural zones, white daughters were sent to the mirrors of media. Blue and silver daughters were drowned in grief. Gold was never born, but is waking up through memory. You've found your dragon. Now what? You've remembered your blood. You've felt the flame move. You know what house you belong to, what colour you carry, what gate you guard. Now comes the most important part, what to do with it. Because every daughter of the dragons was scattered for a reason. Your light was too strong together. But the scattering didn't break the blood. It only hid it. And now the signal has gone out. So here's what comes next. Reclaim the gate. Each dragon line guards a specific doorway, a spiritual gate, an ancestral corridor, a frequency the system is trying to control. Now that you've remembered your colour, you must close what was left open or reopen what was sealed wrongly. That means red dragon daughters must speak truth with fire. Your voice is a sword. Green dragon daughters must reconnect with land and ley lines. Walk, touch, sing. Black dragon daughters must flip the inversion, walk into power and burn the false thrones. White dragon daughters must reflect real light only, not illusion, not false gods. Silver dragon daughters must call back the souls. Protect, not fear, the veil. Blue dragon daughters must dream with purpose, command the astral, open the hidden paths. Gold dragon daughters must stand alone and radiate. Your presence is the shift. Locate others from your line. You were never meant to do this alone, but your sisters were scattered. So now, like you find each other, start listening to energy, not just words. You'll know her by the way she speaks, the grief in her voice, the dreams you both share, the feeling that you've met before, in fire or in silence. When two daughters from the same house meet, the gate vibrates. When two from different houses meet, the system shifts. You are not looking for followers, you are looking for flame bearers. Unlock your assignment. Every dragon daughter has a task encoded in her field. Some of you are here to speak, some of you are here to break, and some of you are here to protect, rebuild, witness, or open forgotten doors. You'll know it because it never leaves you, it scares you. You've tried to walk away from it, but it always pulls you back. Stop asking for permission. You are the return of the blood. Stay in frequency. They will try to invert you. They always have. Through love, through lies, through glamour, attention, or betrayal. But if you stay in flame, you become a frequency the system cannot map. That's the goal, not to fight, but to burn bright enough that false light cannot survive in your field. Speak the flame, tell your story, share your colour, call the others. This isn't mythology, this is encoded memory waking up through your blood. You are not a woman trying to be powerful. You are a dragon who has been sleeping with a crown hidden in her chest. And now that you know what line you carry, you walk like it, you speak like it, you burn like it. Because the system knew this moment would come, the moment we remembered. And now the daughters are rising. One colour at a time, one flame at a time, one gate at a time. The dragons are back, and you were one of them, all along. You carry a code, it's in your blood, your voice, your grief, your power. And now the dragons are stirring. The daughters are being called home, not to serve kings, not to fight each other, but to awaken the throne lines and dismantle the false crowns. This is the real war, not bloodshed. Bloodline memory, you are not just a woman, you are not just a soul. You are the continuation of a line that was never supposed to survive, but it did, through you. And now the flame rises up. The waters stir, the wheels turn, and the queens return. Find your colour, find your memory, find your gate, because the dragons are gathering again. And this time, we don't burn, we reign.